Welcome back to the channel USA X Coins, where everyday coins turn into powerful stories and where American history hides value in the smallest details. Today we are taking a deep journey into one of the most misunderstood yet fascinating coins ever produced by the United States of America, the Washington quarter dollar, dated 1967. This is a coin that millions of people have seen, many have spent, and almost nobody truly understands. And if you stay with me until the very end, you may never look at an old quarter the same way again. The 1967 Washington quarter was born during one of the most dramatic transitions in American coinage history. Just a few years earlier, silver had been removed from circulating quarters, forever changing how U.S. coins were made and collected. The country was experiencing social change, economic pressure, and a complete shift in the way money was produced. The 1967 quarter stands right in the middle of this transformation, making it a true historical bridge between the silver era and the modern age. What makes this year especially interesting is that 1967 quarters were struck without mint marks. This was done intentionally by the United States Mint to discourage hoarding and speculation at a time when people were pulling silver coins out of circulation. As a result, every 1967 Washington quarter looks similar at first glance, which has caused many valuable examples to be overlooked for decades. When you take a close look at the front of the 1967 Washington quarter, you see the timeless portrait of George Washington, strong, calm, and dignified. His image represents leadership, stability, and the foundation of the nation. The design may feel familiar, but coins from this year often show subtle differences in strike quality, detail, sharpness, and surface texture that separate ordinary pieces from highly collectible ones. Collectors who understand these details know exactly what to look for. Turning the coin over reveals the proud American eagle with outstretched wings, standing on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing strength and peace. This reverse design is one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage history, and when fully struck, it displays incredible detail in the feathers, arrows, and leaves. Coins that retain this sharpness after decades are becoming increasingly rare and highly sought after. The true excitement around the 1967 Washington quarter lies in condition and striking quality, because these coins were produced in massive numbers and heavily circulated. Most examples today show wear, dull surfaces, and contact marks. Finding one with full original luster, smooth fields, and crisp details is far more difficult than people realize. Quarters were workhorse coins used daily, which makes high-grade survivors extremely scarce. Another layer of intrigue comes from the presence of rare minting errors and unusual production characteristics. Some 1967 quarters exhibit doubled lettering, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or die errors that occurred during the intense high-speed minting process of the late 1960s. These errors were never intended to reach circulation, and when discovered, they instantly transform an ordinary quarter into a unique collectible treasure. Error coins are especially desirable because no two are exactly alike, and serious collectors compete aggressively to own the mover. Time. Interest in clad-era Washington quarters has grown significantly. Collectors who once ignored non-silver coins are now paying close attention to early clad years like 1967 because they represent the beginning of a new chapter in American money history. The demand for certified high-grade examples has increased sharply as collectors realize how few truly exceptional pieces exist today. What makes this story even more exciting is how often these quarters are still hiding in plain sight. Old jars, piggy banks, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers. Many people assume a quarter without silver content has little value, yet history has proven again and again that rarity, condition, and knowledge matter more than metal alone. Some of the most impressive auction results in recent years have come from coins once dismissed as ordinary. The 1967 Washington quarter also benefits from its connection to a turbulent and unforgettable era in American history. The late 1960s were filled with cultural change, political movements, and national transformation. Coins from this period are tangible reminders of that time, and collectors value them not only for rarity but for the stories they carry. Now we arrive at the moment that brings everything together. If you are lucky enough to own a 1967 Washington quarter in exceptional uncirculated condition or a verified rare error example, this coin has achieved auction prices reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, a simple quarter that once bought a newspaper or a cup of coffee can now represent a life-changing discovery. So take a closer look at your Washington quarters, because history and serious value may already be resting in your hands. Today we are diving into one of the most iconic and celebrated coins ever produced by the United States of America, the Washington quarter, $1776 to 1976 bicentennial edition. This coin is more than just currency. It is a piece of history, a celebration of freedom, and a collector's dream, all rolled into one small, yet incredibly powerful, piece of metal. Stay with me until the very end because the value of this coin may surprise you and could completely change how you view the coin sitting in your collection. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Unlike standard quarters, which feature George Washington on the obverse and the traditional eagle on the reverse, the bicentennial quarter introduced a unique and unforgettable design. This coin was not just a medium of exchange, it was a celebration of American history, patriotism, and artistry. It captured the nation's pride and excitement as the United States marked 2 centuries of independence, freedom, and progress. The obverse still showcases George Washington, whose portrait had become a symbol of leadership, courage, and the foundation of the nation. However, the reverse of this coin is what truly sets it apart. Instead of the usual eagle, the designer crafted a stunning depiction of a colonial drummer, his drum raised in mid-play, with a victory torch and a ceremonial liberty cap in the background. This dramatic and detailed design represents the revolutionary spirit, the fight for freedom, and the determination that shaped America. Every line, every detail, and every curve on the coin is a tribute to the founders and the birth of a nation, making it not just a coin but a miniature work of art. What makes the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter especially exciting for collectors is the variety of mint marks, finishes, and striking differences that exist within this issue. Some were produced for circulation, while others were specially minted as proof coins with mirror-like surfaces and exceptional details. The circulated versions are beautiful reminders of everyday American life, while the proof and uncirculated examples are highly prized because of their flawless appearance and eye-catching luster. Collectors love to compare these differences because subtle variations in strike and finish can significantly impact value. Condition plays a huge role in the worth of the bicentennial quarter. Although millions were minted, many entered circulation, where wear and tear quickly dulled their striking detail. Contact marks, scratches, and loss of luster are common, especially on coins that were used daily. Finding a 1776 to 1976 quarter that retains its original mint shine, crisp details, and flawless surfaces is increasingly difficult and makes such coins highly desirable in the collector market. High-grade uncirculated or proof coins are often the centerpiece of any Washington quarter collection. In addition to condition, there are a number of notable errors and unusual variations from this series that make certain coins exceptionally rare and valuable. Some coins were struck off-center, some show double details, and some even exhibit die cracks or other striking anomalies. Error coins are always exciting because each one is essentially one of a kind, and collectors will pay significant premiums to acquire a verified example. These variations add a layer of thrill to collecting bicentennial quarters, proving that even coins minted in the millions can hide surprises. The bicentennial Washington quarter is also deeply nostalgic. It evokes memories of America's 200th birthday celebrations, parades, fireworks, and the general sense of pride that filled the nation in 1976. Collectors are drawn not just to the coin itself, but to the story it tells, the era it represents, and the emotion it evokes. Owning one of these coins is like holding a piece of that historic moment in your hand, frozen in time, with all the history and symbolism beautifully preserved. Over time, the value of these coins has grown steadily. Circulated coins are common, but as high-grade, uncirculated, or proof examples become increasingly scarce, their worth rises. Collectors today actively search for coins with exceptional surfaces, flawless strikes, and verified mint marks to complete sets or upgrade their collections. Auction results have consistently shown that well-preserved 1776 to 1976 quarters command premium prices, especially when paired with rarity or error characteristics. What makes this story even more exciting is how often these coins are hiding in plain sight. Many 1776 to 1976 quarters were saved in jars, piggy banks, and old collections, forgotten for decades. People often assume that because millions were minted, none could be valuable. Yet history and collector behavior have proven that condition, rarity, and even historical significance can transform a seemingly common coin into something extraordinary. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to own a 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter in pristine uncirculated condition, or even better, a verified rare error or proof example, this coin has achieved auction prices reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, a coin that once celebrated everyday American freedom can now represent a life-changing discovery. So take a closer look at your Washington quarters, because American history, artistry, and serious value may already be sitting in the palm of your hand. Today we are exploring one of the most historically significant and widely circulated coins ever produced by the United States of America, the Washington quarter dollar dated 1965. At first glance, it may seem like a simple quarter, but this coin represents a major turning point in U.S. coinage history, and if you stay with me until the end, you will see why it could be worth far more than you might imagine. The 1965 Washington quarter holds a special place in American numismatic history because it was the first year that quarters were struck entirely in a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than 90% silver. This change came as a result of the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to rising silver prices and the resulting coin shortages. The 1965 quarter was part of a larger national transition that affected how Americans used money and how coins were produced, making it a pivotal year for collectors and historians alike. On the obverse of the coin, you see the familiar portrait of George Washington, strong, dignified, and timeless. Designed to honor the first President of the United States, Washington's profile embodies leadership, stability, and the enduring foundation of the nation. While the design may appear ordinary to the casual observer, collectors know that small details in strike quality, metal composition, and surface condition can significantly affect the coin's value. In particular, 1965 quarters are known for having varying quality in their strikes due to the transition to clad metal, which makes well-preserved examples especially desirable. Flipping the coin to the reverse, you find the majestic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. This iconic design symbolizes both strength and peace, and it has remained one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. In a 1965 quarter, sharp detail in the feathers, arrows, and lettering can set one coin apart from another. Over time, most circulated examples have lost a significant amount of this detail, which is why finding a coin in high-grade condition is particularly rewarding for collectors. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1965 Washington quarter is that it comes from a transitional period, which means that while millions were produced, the survival of high-quality specimens is less common than many people assume. Many of these coins were used extensively in everyday transactions, stacked, carried in pockets, and exposed to daily wear. This makes coins with original luster, crisp strikes, and minimal marks increasingly rare and highly sought after today. Adding even more intrigue, some 1965 quarters exhibit minting errors or unusual characteristics. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, and other anomalies that occurred during the minting process. Error coins are particularly prized by collectors because each one is essentially unique. Even a subtle doubling on the obverse lettering or a misaligned strike can dramatically increase the value of the coin, making it a one-of-a-kind piece of numismatic history. The 1965 quarter also represents a turning point in collector behavior. As silver was removed from coins, people began to pay more attention to circulation patterns, condition, and historical significance rather than simply the metal content. This shift has made quarters like the 1965 Washington highly collectible today, especially those in uncirculated or near-pristine condition. Over time, demand for these transitional coins has steadily increased, and auction results consistently show rising values for coins with exceptional eye appeal and quality. Many of these coins are still hiding in plain sight. Old coin jars, piggy banks, drawers, and inherited collections often contain 1965 quarters that have been forgotten for decades. While most are circulated and show signs of wear, occasionally a collector will uncover a high-grade specimen or a rare error coin that can be a game-changer. The key to finding value is knowledge and careful examination, because even coins that appear ordinary can hide significant potential. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you are fortunate enough to own a 1965 Washington quarter in exceptional uncirculated condition, or a verified rare error example, this coin has achieved auction prices reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Yes. A coin that once exchanged hands for just 25 cents can now represent a remarkable financial discovery. So take a closer look at your old Washington quarters, because history, numismatic significance, and serious value may already be in your possession. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most iconic and widely circulated coins of its era, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar dated 1973. At first glance, it may look like just another quarter, but this coin is far more than ordinary money. It represents an era of American history, has a fascinating collector story, and even a single coin could hold surprising value. Stick with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal could change how you look at your old quarters forever. The 1973 Washington quarter came from a period when quarters were firmly established as part of American daily life, yet the nation was undergoing significant economic and social changes. The coin itself was part of the copper-nickel-clad series, which had replaced silver in circulating quarters starting in 1965. This meant that by 1973, the coins were widely used, heavily circulated, and often overlooked by collectors. Yet these very factors, the large circulation combined with wear and scarcity of high-quality pieces, make certain examples from this year highly sought after today. The obverse of the 1973 Washington quarter features the familiar profile of George Washington, a design that has endured for decades and remains one of the most recognized images in U.S. coinage. Washington's dignified and commanding profile is a tribute to the nation's first president and evokes feelings of strength, leadership, and stability. While the design appears unchanged from earlier quarters, subtle differences in strike quality, minting precision, and surface condition separate ordinary examples from coins that can command serious attention from collectors. On the reverse, the iconic American eagle with outstretched wings rests atop a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a symbol of strength, unity, and peace. In high-quality examples, the detailing in the feathers, arrows, and lettering is remarkably sharp, and collectors prize these coins for their striking contrast and eye appeal. Over time, heavy circulation has dulled many of these features on standard coins, so those that retain crisp detail and original luster stand out immediately. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1973 Washington quarter is the relationship between condition and value. Because these quarters were used extensively in everyday transactions, finding one in near pristine condition is rare. Even small scratches, contact marks, or slight wear can significantly affect the collector value. Coins that have been preserved in mint-like condition, whether by careful storage or because they never circulated, are incredibly valuable to collectors seeking high-grade pieces to complete sets or to showcase their collections. Adding to the excitement are rare minting errors and unusual varieties that occasionally appear in this year's quarters. These can include off-center strikes, doubled lettering, or die anomalies, which were accidental but highly prized in the numismatic world. Error coins are particularly intriguing because each one is essentially unique, and collectors often compete fiercely at auctions to acquire these unusual pieces, sometimes paying significant premiums over standard examples. Demand for 1973 Washington quarters has steadily increased over the years. Many collectors who once focused primarily on silver or earlier dates are now seeking high-grade examples from the post-silver era to complete date sets. Auction results consistently show that uncirculated or proof-quality coins from this year can command premium prices, especially when verified by professional grading services. This demonstrates that even coins produced in massive quantities can become highly collectible when condition, rarity, and historical significance are taken into account. What makes this story even more interesting is how many of these coins are still hiding in plain sight. Old collections, piggy banks, drawers, and inherited coin rolls often contain 1973 Washington quarters that have been forgotten for decades. While most may be circulated and show wear, a lucky collector might find a near-perfect uncirculated specimen or even a rare error coin, turning an ordinary coin into a valuable piece of history. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you are fortunate enough to own a 1973 Washington quarter in exceptional uncirculated condition or a verified rare error example, this coin has achieved auction prices reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, a coin with a face value of 25 cents can transform into a potentially life-changing discovery. Take a closer look at your Washington quarters because history, collector demand, and serious value may already be resting in your hands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1973 quarter, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because more hidden treasures and overlooked coins are waiting to be uncovered. Remember, sometimes the coins we take for granted today may be tomorrow's most coveted treasures.